Alright, this is a game in the Type 64. It's a Tier 6 Chinese Premium Light Tank on Redshire. And we've done a couple different Redshire maps before. On this particular one, I just want to show basically flexing around and using your speed to get to places where you can help tanks that are in confrontations. And also, because it doesn't have a very good gun, you'll always want to try to find flanking opportunities and support opportunities rather than, direct head-to-head confrontations. And so what we'll do, as usual, try to spot their western dispersion. They have two FE304s, which is the short-range British artillery, so well, keep an eye on that. That's something that, as a light tank, you try to take into account around this tier, because they have very limited range. You can limit how effective they are in terms of shooting at your team by doing basically scouting out these little weak points. They sent an E25 up here, and you'll see that as I curl around here, I'm watching this mini-map, and you'll see him start to head back to his original position right now. So I see that, so I know that he's headed back to about the same area, so I'm going to go back to the same area and shoot him again. Ideally, I wanted 2 shots of damage here, but that first one bounced off of him. And you don't want to be too greedy, you don't want to sit out there and shoot too often. Take what you can get, and then just back off. It's free damage. And then they moved a KV-1 up into this other ditch over here, and so I don't have much support behind me yet, so I start moving back out. What I didn't notice at that time was this T-43 is moving in. See, he bypasses the ditch that I was in and pushes into the KV-1, and I don't really notice it until right now. And so then I need to move to support him. I should have been paying attention there. I should have seen him going in, and I should have reacted faster, but I didn't. But whenever you see somebody go in like that, make sure that you get in and you get into a position where you can support him. If I had gotten in there earlier, he might have been able to live. Same for the rest of our team. If this Panther M10 had gotten in there earlier as well. But yeah, that's something where you always have to sort of pay attention to what your team is doing and be sort of ready to support them. We didn't really send that much out this way. That's something that we have to keep an eye on, because we're probably going to lose that. We've got a little bit of YOLO in this middle area here. He picked up one of the FE304s. That's pretty far in the back. And then so they have 2 guys on this one line here. This T-34-85 that's in E1 should be able to spot them. And what you want to be able to do is, especially with this Panther M10, is to be able to shoot those guys when they get lit. I was hoping to help out our Comet that was in their base, but unfortunately all the guys are lit, and that's too far away for me to get to. This RFE-304 is moving up here behind this Jumbo. That's not necessarily what he wants to do, because there's not that much defending in front of him. I'm taking some bad shots on the move against this 3485 because I don't want to get shot by their Panther M10, and unfortunately I miss him anyways. And notice how our Panther M10 is out of position to help these guys over here. That was probably the FE304 that shot at me. So I know that the FE304 has to essentially be within about 400 meters of that shot. And so they've got this one-line wand now. See how this Panther M10 is coming back? He should basically back off to over here now, because they've moved up that one line. Otherwise it'll be fairly easy for him to get picked off. Our Jumbo died over here, and so we've got a 7 and an FE304 over here, so I'm going to try to get over here to save them if I can. Fortunately, in this particular round, I'm always just a little bit too late to save people, it seems.
It's a trap!
And then I do a good job of tracking myself here, because I can. And so what I want to be able to do is take out this SU before the TOG gets over to me. And I don't know exactly which way he's facing, but I do know that I can circle strafe him because I have enough speed to do so. And so I just head out here, and he was facing towards me, unfortunately, so he gets a free shot on the damage on me. But whether there's a rock here or not, I should be able to circle strafe him. And then he does the smart thing there, turn the other way, but he's already lost too much health at that point. And then so essentially we were able to take that down before the TOG was able to get into a position where he could actually shoot us. And then so we still lost this area over here. Our Panther M10 died to these guys. And see now the T29, which wasn't helping that Panther, our Panther M10 over there, is now going over there by himself. So they're sort of trickling in there one at a time, which is not what you want to do. This E25 got the TOG's attention, and so as soon as you see that, you want to get over onto the TOG. And that's sort of, you know, basically trying to find opportunities where you can damage people without that are trying to hurt your teammates, which is a lot of what you want to do, both in the Type 64 and in the E25 as well. And then so now I know that they've got these two tanks over on this one line still. The AT-8 probably hasn't moved that far from where he was because it's a pretty slow tank. So I need to try to figure out if I can help this T-29, but I'm you know 600, 700 meters away, so it's probably gonna probably closer to like 800 meters away. It's gonna take me a long time to get there. And see how he's like basically he just drove up into them, which isn't always the best thing to do, particularly with T-29, but he's able to take out the Panther M10, so that's good. I do know that the FE-304 at one point was within 400 meters of this square, this D3 square, so I'm going to cut over here and try to see if I can find them, and then what I'll do is I'll come back up underneath the T-34. The AT-8 is spotted over here, the E-25 is coming over to help as well. Unfortunately, I do not spot the FE-304, as it turns out he moved back over in this area. Or theoretically, the guy that shot into the D3 could have been the Hummel with a small gun. So the T-34 is able to kill the T-29, and I'm one shot to that T-34, but our E-25 still has 700 health. So what I want to be able to do is, hopefully this E-25 doesn't camp here. This is pretty much one of the worst places in the game. So what I want to do is I just want to be close enough in range where I can help the E-25 if the E-25 pushes in. And so I have a little bit of time here. I need to just see. I presume that the T-34 went this way in order to look for artillery. The E-25 seems content to camp there, at least for the moment. So I just want to get safe, and I don't want to get backdoored down the zero line by the FE-304 if their FE-304 moves up. And so the E-25 is moving in. And he picks up the T-34, and I'm a little bit too far away. The GW Panther spots the 304, so I didn't need to worry about that on the zero line. So the E-25 engages the T-34, and he actually kills him, which is nice, because again, I was probably a little bit too far away there. And then now the E-25, so we've cleared out everything, and everything is in front of us now. We know where the AT-8 is, we know where the FE-304 is. So it's going to be really easy for me to come around on this flank and get to the backside of this, of either the AT-8 and or the FE-304. The E-25 can do his thing. He seems to be currently parked for a while.
It's a trap!
And so we're able to take out the FE-304, the AT-8, the AT-8, oh well, I guess with the GW Panther. I'm sorry, the Hummel takes out the GW Panther. The E-25 is charging, and he shouldn't try to attack that AT-8 frontally. So I have two options. I have one to go on this hill and do a crossfire with the E-25. That leaves me vulnerable to the Hummel. I'm the E25 is behind this building here, so I'm hoping that he doesn't attempt to engage the AT-8 frontally, and then that'll give me enough time to go after the artillery and come back. But the E25 does try to engage the AT-8 frontally, and so you see the AT-8 is probably going to try to cap, but there's 5 minutes left in the game, and I'm in a Type 64, one of the faster tanks in the game. I'm not too worried about the cap quite yet. So what I want to be able to do is find the artillery, take him out, so then it's just a one-on-one confrontation with me against an AT-8, which, given the terrain, favors me.
It's a trap!
And then coming in to this Hummel, you want to be sure not to ram him. We don't have a whole lot of health. You can just basically wedge yourself into him and prevent him from turning towards you, and that will be sufficient. The AT-8 has gotten on the cap, but again, it takes 100 seconds to cap. It will only take me, it'll take me less than a minute to get back to the base. And then so the point is that I've been trying to make sort of throughout this entire thing. So the Type 64 is one of those tanks. It's really quick, doesn't have any armor. It's good for vision control, but the gun is a little pea shooter. So you want to use it more as this sort of flanker assist tank. For at least when you're dealing damage. You obviously want to use it as a passive or active scout in the early game as you can, but you especially want to be able to support your team when they push in, which we did a mediocre job of this round. And so as I approach the cap, I want to approach the cap through some bushes and see if I can light. And then I have plenty of time. I have 30 seconds. You can take your time, see if you can get a better shot, and then just take the shot that you have, right? And so now the clock is reset. There's 3 minutes 45 seconds left. He's slowly driving across an open field. I could shoot, but I can also wait and see if he gives me a better shot, right? And so he's going to turn his side more towards me, and he's going to drive behind this tree right here, both of which work to my advantage. And then that allows me to just basically shoot him, and he really doesn't have much of a chance. Oops. I accidentally cleared that one. And then so if you look at the stats, pretty much like a lot of medium games that we talk about, the superior movement ability, mobility of these faster tanks allows you to relocate to a lot of different areas on the map. We ended up doing the most damage on the team because of that, because we helped out on individual confrontations, even though we were a little bit late to help out the T-43. We were a little bit late to help out the FE-304. We were able to get to these areas at a timely enough fashion to actually deal a little bit of damage. Again, I should have reacted a little bit faster in a lot of those situations, particularly the T-43. I should have seen that T-43 going in, and having him alive earlier in the game could have made a much huger difference later in the game, and so it could have potentially taken a close win and made it into an easy win. And so a lot of early reads are like that, where they sort of become their importance is magnified the earlier they are in the match, which again goes to this idea that you need to make your good decisions really early on, if you make because it sort of gives you a greater margin of error later in the game. Anyhow, I hope that was helpful in terms of explaining how to play these sort of light pew-pew tanks with not a whole lot of armor, and thanks for watching.